Okay,
so
we are live.
Okay. It's 4 o'clock. Thank you for everyone coming. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'll ask for roll call. Councillor Webster.
Present.
Councillor Humphreys.
Present.
And I'm present. And we have Hope, Nikki, and Brian here to present to us. Confirmation of agenda. Is there anything to add, Hope? You have to unmute.
Just the test chair report that I sent out, the new package this afternoon, so it will be the agenda as amended.
Right on. Subdivision concept for Derek McGrimmon. Hope you want to go ahead, take it from here.
Sure. So a new concept plan, I believe, is being developed for the McGrimmon subdivision located at 1020 Whitten Road. And it's potentially this new plan will provide many more lots than the original one that council reviewed in December. And following receipt of this new potential plan, it's recognized that with the size of the subdivision and the number of lots that there would be a need for the provision of water and sanitary services from the town of Renfrew. Mr. McGrimmon has confirmed that he is open to any discussion that the Township of Horton wishes to pursue with the town of Renfrew that would permit his property to be serviced by municipal water and sanitary services from the town. So staff have invited consultant Brian Whitehead from JP2G to be part of this conversation to answer any questions that council may have. And staff's looking for direction to formally send a request to the Town of Renfrew Council to meet with the Township of Horton to discuss servicing options.
Okay, thank you. Brian, you want to give us a little bit of insight on what may be developing?
Well, as you know, we prepared a concept plan on private services, and we have not prepared a concept plan at this point for a full urban service layout. My understanding is that I haven't got any direction from Mr. McGrimmon to do that, but I will follow up with them on that. It's my understanding there have been some informal discussions going on that Mr. McGrimmon's been appraised of, and he's made it known to me that if he can get services from the town of Renfrew, then he would be very excited about that possibility, and I'd be willing to cooperate with the town and the township to make that possible for this site.
Okay, that's my understanding also, Brian. I have done a little bit of phone work with the town of Renfrew and a little bit with Derek McGrimmon, the developer, and there is an indication that he wishes us to look at what could be presented to the town and himself as far as having that development on water and sewer supplied by the town.
Right.
So that's the reason for today's meeting, is to ensure that our staff was satisfied that we weren't just pulling something out of the air, that there was something substantial going to move forward.
Okay, and I think on that and that spirit of cooperation with the town, stormwater might be an issue as well. Like there is the property is at the top end of a drain that goes down toward Whitten Road, and it comes out near the intersection of Whitten Road and O'Brien. And at that point, it's a really steep gully, but it's really shallow on Mr. McGrimmon's property. So that's where and that's the natural outfall for drainage. So we're anticipating that there might be a need for some kind of an easement, and I believe the land abutting the town at that point is designated industrial, I think the town owned a portion of that land. I don't know if they own all of it or not, but it's something that would have to be considered in the whole discussion, I think, on making that property work for development.
And I totally agree with you, Brian. That is owned by the town of Renfrew. It's good Horton land, by the way.
Yes.
Just not in today. So we have, I've looked at it because my shop is obviously on the upper end of that. And that gully is fairly deep in behind my shop going over
Yeah.
towards Mountain Road in there. So it's,
Yeah.
it does come under the actual trail now is where it comes under in order to get to that property. So.
Yeah, at some point it'll become a natural water course, but up at the top end, it's a swale, and you know, these things can get a bit complicated sometimes. So the drainage. So I guess what's the, maybe I could. Has it been any thought given to the process of how you'd like to move forward with this? Would you like Mr. McGurman to draft up a detailed concept plan to present to the town for like an urban style?
Well, I'm talking if somebody else is, tell me to be quiet if I'm getting out of line, but the situation right now is we have not had any talks with the town of Renfrew. We've had good indication that they're willing to discuss this, and we have no idea what the financial implications would be or how they would be handled. And that's where we needed to sit down and discuss with the town of Renfrew and the developer of how this would work. As you well know, it's our first actual new subdivision. We do purchase a little bit of water and sewer from the town of Renfrew on the outskirts, but where Valley Motel used to be was actually on Renfrew town water and sewer.
Right.
And then we have a couple of dental ones that are tied into the town up at the other end on Graham Avenue. But it's certainly a big advantage to the township of Horton and a good advantage to the town of Renfrew to work together to see if there's anything we can do to move this forward. And as you well know, we're looking at the influence zone, and this is the reason the influence zone was actually being proposed to begin with, not this development, but and we want to show that we can work together without having it legislated.
That's wonderful. I would think there'd have to be some kind of a servicing agreement between the town and the township to make that work. This is the approach.
Yeah,
with a funding formula.
We have to work through it and see what's on everybody's mind. Obviously,
Okay.
once 12 people get around the table, it'll be a little different story.
Yeah. Okay.
Councillor Humphreys.
Yes, what will be the go from how many houses? We looked at the original was 40. What will be the density up if we can hook into town? Do you think it'll be 100 houses?
Well, it would be the way I calculate these things is like a density per acre.
Yeah.
And when you're on full services, it's a whole new ballgame.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
so it depends on the housing mix.
Yeah.
But when you're talking rural, you're talking like less than 1 unit an acre because you got roads and stuff. So
Yeah.
the concept we had, I think, was 40 lots on
40 lots. Yeah.
on 90 acres.
Yeah.
And and we had the lots at what, half a hectare, just because we hadn't done the hydrogeology. We just made an assumption that the lots would be like an acre and a quarter, acre and a half kind of thing. And so with the urban, even with a single detached residential, you'd be looking at 4 to 5 units an acre. So you take that, say 90 acres times 5.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of development.
Yeah. Yeah.
98, that's 450 units.
But it would save a lot of money without the geological studies of water and the ground for septic tanks too. So that's something you got to pencil into your figures too, that if you're going to gain that many more lots and to figure out the volume of water coming in and sewage going out for a development like that size, like that's
Well,
lot,
it
and then-
changes. Yeah, the engineering is completely different.
yeah, for sure.
You're into urban design standards, so that the
Yeah.
cost per foot or meter of lot is
Yeah.
significantly higher.
Yeah.
And then there would still be the Jameson. Is it the Jameson pit across the
Yeah,
street?
yeah.
There's still that existing pit. I've heard rumblings about the status of it. I don't think there's an asphalt plant in there anymore, but I don't know what the status of that pit is, but for the time being, it's still designated and zoned for aggregate extraction. So the same separation distances and setbacks would apply. In fact, it might actually heighten, the issue of land use compatibility, because you'd be introducing a substantial amount of more development that might not be compatible with aggregates, but I think we could work around that.
Yeah, just an update. Sorry, Doug, I'll be right back to you. Just an update. The asphalt plant is still in operation in that pit.
Okay.
And it's being retained there till at least the overpass are done on 17 on the new stretch of highway.
So it could be a few years then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it could be a few years before.
Sorry, Doug.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'll think of another question. You started. No, go ahead. I'm good.
Okay. Go ahead, Brian.
Lost my train of thought too. Yeah, it would be a few years before the subdivision would be developed in its first phase. And a project that big doesn't have to start on the Whitten Road side either. It could start, further away to, be more compatible. So interesting times. And the nice thing about that property is it's at the Ottawa side of Renfrew.
That's
so
right.
It's a closer, once the four lanes come in, it's a lot closer to Ottawa. So it would be easier to market.
It is, and it's in between the two overpasses also, because the one on Gillen Road and the one on O'Brien Road is just looped right into that horseshoe.
Cool. Sounds good. I guess if I'm on the town side, the only question I would have is the town, and I know this because I've done some work with Mr. McEwen and some other people in the town, is that there are undeveloped lands within the town limits that people are looking at as well that can't expand without a comprehensive review. So there would be some planning approvals required to allocate growth to the Renfrew service system. So it's called that would probably go hand in hand with the servicing study. So there's capacity in the sewer and the water systems that has to be considered, and where that capacity will be allocated within the town and in relation to Horton. So there's some, I guess, some hoops to jump through in order to make this deal work. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Well, we're very aware of it, and we know that we've got a little bit to do in order to get it moving forward. But the initial discussions get started, then we can we're at work together to try and resolve them. There seems to be a willingness by both municipalities to do something here that's favorable to allow this to happen, so.
Okay, that sounds encouraging. So is there anything I can take back to Mr. McGrimmon from council?
Just Councillor Webster had his hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bennett. Yeah, so I just had a few comments. I think, first of all, it would be great for Horton Township and tax base and everything else if this can proceed. So a couple of questions, Brian. Is it going to be on the same footprint that was proposed with the 40 lots?
Yeah, pretty much. That's where the developable lands are located. Yes.
So within the same footprint. Okay, of the 90 acres, you said?
I believe it is around that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so as long as JP2G comes back with favorable comments in regards to the servicing, I guess in discussion with once we gets on to Renfrew's side, you know, I'm in favor for this for sure. And then so you made a comment there about Mr. McEwen. I don't know who you were referring to there.
McEwen or McGrimmon?
Oh, McGrimmon. Okay, I thought I heard McEwen. Okay.
Well, you might have. Might have been a senior's moment.
No. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions of Brian? I have a Councillor Carew.
Yeah, hey Brian, how you doing?
Well, thank you.
I think it's great for both municipalities, as in the density for Horton, urban versus rural, and also for Renfrew, which opened some lands up for them. Because there has to be like whole servicing pump stations, but it also helps their water rates within the number of users. So I think it is a win-win for both municipalities. It just I have a question: Have JP2G, have they done developments that are cross-border municipalities? And also, I guess where do we go from here? I guess it has to be buy-in from both municipalities and the developer, right? Because even the developer, sure he's getting more lots, but he has to figure out, is it cost effective? And even selling a lot, right? Because the current water rate for Renfrew, that's not within the township of Renfrew. That's a town of Renfrew. Is 2 times the rate. So that has to be determined on, I guess, on his behalf. Have to see if it's feasible and if Renfrew is on board, would the rate stay the same or is it a different rate? And that's something you have to figure out for his future clients, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not, I wouldn't consider myself to be, a subject matter expert in intermunicipal servicing agreements, but I am familiar with, through my experience in the Valley with the Pembroke and Laurentian Valley servicing agreement. And I've also done work in McNabb Braeside beside the town of Arnprior, which is the opposite extreme. And, Glen Meadow subdivision right near the edge of the services are within a stone's throw, and they couldn't connect almost up to the edge of the property and couldn't connect into them, no agreement. So, and in the case of Arnprior, I think they're filling up and they're building right up to the edge of the boundary of their, and then it's sort of affecting them negatively that way, in my opinion. Pembroke does have a servicing agreement with Laurentian Valley, and that was triggered about over 20 years ago in the mid-90s as a result of the big box stores going in Laurentian Valley, and beside the mall, the Canadian Tire and the Walmart and Home Depot and Winners and some other box stores. They're all located in Laurentian Valley. So they hammered out a deal to make those developments happen. And I believe in that case, Laurentian Valley pays their share of the capital cost of the whole sewer and water infrastructure. I think they pay like 10% of the cost of the system. Plus, I think there's a user fee on top of that, but don't quote me. The other example I have is Petawawa, before and after amalgamation. And that's an interesting example of how, like before amalgamation, there was development pressure in Petawawa Township. Like the whole Petawawa, going up to Petawawa from Pembroke, there's a lot of development, but it's only on municipal water, not sewer. So there is a lot of development in the former township, but there was pressure on like adjacent to the urban boundary for development before amalgamation that couldn't go ahead. And there wasn't an agreement because at the time I don't think there was capacity anyway, but after amalgamation, I mean, Petawawa exploded with growth. And I think it was partly due to the amalgamation that allowed that to happen, because suddenly the municipal borders were gone. And that whole area south of, or the Pembroke side of Murphy Road is a huge area that got developed. So those are some examples of how, you know, development has occurred. I should say in the Laurentian Valley example, like whenever Laurentian Valley gets a big subdivision, the city of Pembroke go on high alert and try and find out ways of obstructing it. So it's not a happy marriage. So go ahead.
Yeah, and just and Tom can probably be aware of this. He's aware of this, and there's a lot of municipalities, especially in large centers, that and going back to even City of Ottawa days prior to amalgamation, they supplied water to Nepean and all the municipalities, like surrounding municipalities, right? And then you go like GTA area, Hamilton, and Tom would be more familiar than I am with that. There's a lot of municipalities, and then you go further, the states is a lot even bigger.
Oh yeah,
majority,
it can happen. Absolutely. Yeah, it can happen. Yeah. If there's two willing parties, you know, and you enter into an agreement with the town that it's a win for both, then it's a great thing. Yeah. So, but there's a few. I mean, there's probably a few hoops to go through, and you know, some formulas to work out, and for cost sharing and that kind of thing. Yeah.
So, do you see, and maybe hope you can answer this one, or Brian? So, I guess we haven't got a formal request from the developer, or maybe we have, but is that something that should be done to us and the town of Renfrew, or is it a request through us and then we reach out to the town of Renfrew, or what's the best process?
Keepers, I don't even know. I'd have to give that some thought. I think Derek would be willing to do just about anything to get it moving.
And what's the timeline? Sorry, too, if I can ask.
I haven't really got into detail with him about the timeline. So, but you know, if I, like any developer, it's like yesterday, right? Any developer I've ever dealt with, it's always a big hurry. I've got 100 clients like that. Especially these days with COVID, it's crazy out there with, you know, I got files that have been kicking around for 15 years that I thought would never come back to life, and they're all coming back, and everybody's wanting to do something right now. It's a pretty healthy time for considering growth and development in the valley. Yeah. So I can go back and get some direction from Derek on you know what he wants to do in terms of mobilizing this. And it sounds to me like you would like something from him to demonstrate in writing that he wants to move forward. Would that be accurate? Would that be helpful? To the chair?
I think it
I'm
would be-
just waiting for Lane.
Oh, I can. sorry, I would say like it'd be beneficial for, if that's the direction, I think if he requested it, at least to us, right? And then that would, and then potentially, and to, contender, because that would affect the process, and maybe it's dead in the water before it even gets to like for any money spent on feasibility, right? I think that willingness has to be there before he spends any money on plans, like on and studies.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because we can do a calculation, of development potential without a detailed concept plan. But certainly a concept would be nicer to look at.
So, just a little bit of history here. We have been at the table with this before. But we're at the table a good many years ago trying to come up with a deal with the town when the mall used to be out at the other end of town. Part of the problem, of course, back then was the water and sewer wasn't capable of handling anymore. There was a proposal that was presented that the mall would stay where it was and be built across the borderline. The town of Renfrew at that time turned it down. And we also had not a formal proposal, but we did have a proposal presented to us when Valley Hotel got closed and sold. They had that the parking lot, water and sewer be extended out into the parking lot on the far side to allow development, and that also didn't happen. So, but I do believe the willing partners from the municipalities this time are see the need for new development and moving forward. So whatever we need from the developer to get us to the table to get the initial round of talks going it could be very, as long as hope is satisfied that the partners are willing to at least discuss it without putting the actual concept plan together at first. I think it would be at least the first hour and a half meeting that would be happening.
Okay.
Councillor Humphries.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bennett. Mr. Whitehead, Brian, why, what kind of timeline would you need to say, we already know you have 40 lots planned, but even just to throw some numbers out, as if you're going to 200 houses or 300, or just to get some numbers out there that looks better for us to go to the town saying, well, this is going to be up to 400 houses, phase 1, 2, and 3, and 4 over the next 10 years or something. So it would give us a little bit more ammunition, I think, so the town would know what they need for volume of water and for sewers and storm sewers and all that. So we'd have a bit more ammunition going to the table while we say we're going to do this in X years or Y years and go from there. Like, how much extra work would it be involved for your company to do that? Like, I don't want to spend a whole lot of money on it in case it gets thumbs down, but at least have a little bit of an idea without plans drawn up and stuff, just to show you, you put some thought into it and you can throw out some numbers saying, yes, the first 5 years there'll be 100 houses built, and then phase 2, like if you had a little more information, it would help both of us, both sides. So
I'll talk to Derek McCrimmon and get some direction on that.
yeah,
I'll indicate what what the discussion was today, and I'll suggest to him that if he's willing to do a little bit of work and put a package together to submit to the township, that they'd be willing to take that and enter into some discussions with the town, if that's acceptable to council.
Yeah.
Is that, but that's what everybody would like to see happen then? Tom?
Yeah, I think from both sides, because that's going to be one of their first questions back to us is when you want this water sewer, if we can give it, and how many lots do you want? Well, if it comes down to that we don't know any plan if it's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever phases,
Yeah.
how many homes in a phase. Like they're going to need to guide. They need some guidance also. So I think if the request is coming forward from the developer to us, at least we're all on the same page of what's expected, and this is what they're going to gear for, pro or con against it. But at least they have a plan they can put together with those timelines and capacities and everything else. So I think it's a good idea. Councillor Humphreys brought up that we do have all this kind of in place. I know it can fluctuate a little bit, but at least they can gear towards the numbers that were presented to us.
Right. Yeah. There's a bit of chicken and egg going on in terms of, showing what you'd like and then designing what you can get. But there has to be a starting point. And even if we show a concept that has more development than capacity, it can always be phased. So I think, I think we can do something for you. Yeah. It might take a few weeks to pull it together. What kind of timing is the township in? Is it? I guess the ball's in our court then, eh? On the timing.
Yeah, Monday by noon will be fine, Brian.
Yeah.
Council is expressing what we would like to see happen. Hope, do you want some kind of motion now that Brian has something to take? And then we can work from there, or you just want to leave it and whatever Brian sends back, then you'll bring it back to council?
Yeah, I don't think I need a resolution if that's the way that council wants to move forward with Brian to take it back to the developer. We'll wait till we get something on paper and then we'll bring it back to the table and then we'll get formal recommendation at that point.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody's okay with that then?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. And we'll be talking to you. I'll call you at about 10:30. Make sure you're going to be ready for noon.
Okay, thank you. A little
Thanks,
encouragement
Brian.
would be helpful.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Okay. The test chair report, Councillor Webster, please.
Thank you, Mayor Bennett. In regards to page 5 on our package, hopefully everybody's had a chance to read it. I know it's added to the agenda. So first thing, award the RFP for 2020-07 Thompson Hill Detailed Design Engineering Services. So we went out, Adam went out and awarded the RFP, and the numbers are in front of us there. JP2G be the consultants at that price, and we're going to take that money out of modernization was discussed. The fuel propane contract extension. So there's a lot of discussion in regards to that. So we just wanted to make it fair, equal across the board, apples to apples, everything else. And so Adam's preparing that now. I think he's got it ready. I think he might have sent you a draft, Hope, in regards to that. And it looks like it's in good shape. He sent me a copy. So I think that's going out shortly. And then truck number 14, spreader control upgrade. So this is in regards to, what do you call that system? The mesh system lane, I think it is. Councillor Cleroux, is that what it's called?
ACE controls.
Okay, sorry.
It's GPS. Yeah.
Oh, ACE, there it is right there. Yeah, so what it does is it's going to help us track the amount of usage. Right now we cannot track it. So he's looking to upgrade through the modernization fund of this upgrade. And on the next page, there's the price of it, the $3,171. And then we're looking at the fall of next year that we sell our existing one, and the going price is Adam estimated that it's going to be about between $1,000 and $1,500 that will go back into the modernization fund. So that is my test report. Any questions? Yes, Mayor Bennett.
Just quickly, I was at this committee and I didn't bring it up. We said we're going to sell it. So as soon as we get this in order, I was going to suggest that 3 or 4 of the truck manufacturers be let known that we have that system in place, because if they're putting used trucks together for highway contractors, if they know it's out there, it may sell quicker that way. Just put a price on that we want and go from there.
Yes, absolutely. And our discussion was that this is the end of this season of spreading sand and salt. So the higher dollar may be down the road in the fall. So yeah, we can look at all those options now for sure. Any other questions? Oh, seeing none, I'll pass it back to you, Mayor.
Thank you. Council members and staff concerns. Councillor Humphreys.
Just a quick question. How are the funds lasting with modernization grant? It seems to be we're going through it, which is important, but how many dollars are sort of left in that fund left now, like after the 60,000 comes out?
So we have utilized or allocated about half of the funding so far, just over half, with depending on the resolution that I'm going to bring forward about the Thompson Hill. So yeah, we're still in good standing, but we are spending it rather quickly lately.
Yeah, as long as I have a trip south, I don't care.
Any other questions, comments?
So I do have the resolutions for the tests portion that I need council to ratify. If I can.
Oh, sorry, I didn't have,
Okay.
okay.
It's a
So
little
I need a move. Pardon?
I was just gonna say it's a little different on the special council agenda than it is the regular council agenda.
Yeah, just to screw things up, right? Okay, so you want that right now?
Sure,
I
yeah, we
need a
can talk-
mover and a seconder for the tests. Just,
Before-
it's all in one then?
No, I've got them separated out just because of the tender award. So but council accept the test committee chair's report as information.
Moved by Councillor Carew, second by Councillor Humphreys. Councillor Webster,
In favor?
Councillor Carew,
In favor?
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
That upon recommendation from the test committee, council agreed to award PW 2020-07 Thompson Hill Detailed Design Services to JP2G Consultants, Inc. for the total upset limit of $60,409.80, including HST, and that this be funded from the modernization reserve.
Need a mover, Councillor Webster, second Councillor Humphreys. Councillor Carew,
In favor?
Councillor Webster,
In favor?
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
That upon recommendation from the test committee, council agreed to reissue the request for quotations for the supply of fuel and propane.
Mover, Councillor Humphreys, second by Councillor Webster, Councillor Carew,
In favor?
Councillor Webster,
In favor?
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
That upon recommendation from the test committee, council have the spreader controls in truck 14, the 2018 Western Star Tandem, upgraded from a Dickie John to an Ace EcoBite 2, and that the upgrade estimated at $3,171.63 plus installation be funded through the modernization reserves. And further, that the funds from the sale of the Dickie John be directed back into the modernization reserves.
Mover, Councillor Webster, second by Councillor Carew. Councillor Humphreys,
In favor?
Councillor Carew,
In favor?
Counselor Webster,
In favor.
and I'm in favor.
All done.
Okay, so I have one more thing I want to mention on council members' concerns. Is if COVID is getting a little bit stronger in Renfrew County and working its way back here a little bit. But our vaccination is available to our senior residents as long as they get on the appointment through the Renfrew County Health Unit. We do have a few seniors that I have a little bit concerned that we may just have to, and Hope is working on getting an information card to drop off to them. Just so in case they don't have family or they don't have the media to look at, the card will tell them who to contact in order to get themselves in line to get the vaccine if they so wish. So I know of a few places. I don't know whether there's any issue or not, but if you do know, Hope will have information cards here in the next week or so. And if you do know somebody, just kindly just drop in quickly and say this is available to them. Just so all our seniors are looked after. Anyway, Councillor Humphreys.
Yes, I'm wondering, like, when the paramedics did the wellness checks, that they'd have an idea who is, like, needs help too, like, that aren't on, we know of a few people that might need assistance, but would they not have a list of the wellness checks they did throughout the whole year when the pandemic started, like checking on people, or sort of like a help number or something that they'd have a better idea too? So I'm wondering if we should contact the health with the paramedics just to see if they've got some ideas of how to help those people that need help. So I know what you hope and everybody else thinks, but I just thought it'd be sort of an idea that if as a wellness check is sort of a two-phase thing. You say, how are you doing today? And by the way, we can get you an appointment for your COVID test or COVID vaccine. So I'm just wondering if they'd have any resources to help, like more personal basis. That's all I'm just requesting. So any ideas, throw them out.
Well, I'm sure Hope will follow up with Councillor Humphreys, and we'll do whatever we need to. Basically, the two meetings that I have been in, the local municipalities are kind of making sure the support gets to the people in their township. So that's why I brought it up at this meeting. I would believe that the paramedics would be kindly just do whatever they need to do to make sure everybody is looked after also. So whatever we need to do, and it doesn't hurt for 2 or 3 people to check the same out. So
Okay, fair enough.
Comments, Hope?
No, you answered it perfectly.
Okay. Brownie point. Okay. So that being said, we are heading to confirming bylaw then? Okay. I need a mover and a seconder for confirming bylaw 2021-17. Mover, please. Councillor Humphreys, second by Councillor Carew. Councillor Webster,
In favor?
Councillor Carew,
In favor?
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.